Hi everyone, welcome back to the Yellow Lane YouTube channel. In case you're just coming across this channel for the first time, what we do on this channel is to teach you how to make bags of different designs. But in this tutorial, we're going to be doing something really different. I've got quite a number of questions in my DM about the sewing machine I've been using in past tutorials. If it is something that, aside using it to make bags, can it also function as a sewing machine for your dresses, for your garments? I'm going to be showing you how to use the working presser foot sewing machine, the heavy duty industrial sewing machine, how you can use it to sew your fabric materials. We're going to be making use of two different materials to put this to test. So we have the chiffon material, which is a very soft material, and we have the polished material. Can you as a fashion designer buy it so that you can make dresses on one side and start incorporating bag make to it, so that you can use one sewing machine to achieve both purposes? And that is what we are going to be doing in this video. And we're not going to be using twine thread, because I've also gotten questions about do you only use twine thread with your sewing machine? Can you use the regular tailor thread? So ideally for bags, I use the twine thread. So if you're wondering what the twine thread looks like, this is what the twine thread looks like. It's very thick. It is very thick, not something that you can use your hand to cut into pieces, unlike the regular tailor thread. Okay, so we are going to be using the regular tailor thread to test the materials, and I'm going to show you the process and all that you need. But I use both threads for the sewing machine. When I want to make bags, I use this, and when I want to make dresses, I use. Let's get into how you can use this sewing machine to sew your dresses. For this, we are going to be using the regular fashion designer thread, the polyester thread, and that is what we are going to be using for this setup. Okay, so you're going to put it on your sewing machine just the way you would for your normal thread. Okay, so bring the thread out of, pass it accordingly, the way it should be. Just pass it accordingly. So you bring the thread right through here, just the same way that you would pass the thread for your sewing machine. So you take it through here, then through the tension disc back into this hole, and then there's another one underneath here. Pass it through it. So just the regular way of passing your thread. Pass it through the big tension disc into this, and then through this. So there is a pass through here. Okay, so once you have it passed through here, then you have the needle holder, then through the needle. So from left to right, you pass it from left to right. So we have the needle, the thread in the needle now. Okay, so the thread is right here in the needle. Then your bobbin and the bobbin case. So I've reeled the same thread. I've reeled the same thread into the bobbin, and then put it into the bobbin case and pass it the way it should be. Then you place it underneath your sewing machine. The needle we are using for this, it is the regular this is the violin needles. Okay, this is the violin needles, and I'm using size 21. So you're going to be using size 21 for your fabrics. You can go lower. You can, if you say size 20, size 18, you can use it for this. Now by the time you're using, if you're using size 21, ideally I use this type of needle, size 23, for my sewing machine. When I want to make bags, I use size 23, but here I'm going to be using size 21. Why? Because the fabric we are sewing is soft, and the hole on this, okay, the hole made into this is quite large compared to what you would have for your fabric. So if you have a wide mouth needle pushing something this soft that is laying on this hole, the needle is going to push the fabric into the hole, and you will realize that you will have struggle pulling this, or the machine will not it won't move. Your fabric will, the material will not move underneath the sewing machine. So you have to use a needle with a tiny sized mouth that can easily penetrate this without pushing the fabric into the hole, because the hole is big. So that is why I prefer to use 21. Okay, so you can use 21, especially if you're sewing thick clothing material like your jean, your polished materials. But if you're sewing something very soft like this, you can go ahead to use your size 18 or size 19. Now when you change the size of the needle, there is something that changes on your sewing machine, and that is your hook timing. you have to be sure that your sewing machine, the needle is feeding the thread to the shuttle underneath the sewing machine, and that is where your hook timing comes in. Now the next thing that you want to do, since you've changed the needle right here, we have size 21 needle here, and I've adjusted the hook timing to work, but I'm going to show you how you can adjust the hook timing for your machine. So you're going to bring out this box, okay? So you need to see the brain box, you need to see what you're working on. That is where the rod holding your needle is. So this also works the same way for your manual sewing machine. I give resources to students in our handbag construction class in order for them to adjust the hook timing. Okay, so you see all that you have here. So this particular rod right here is the one carrying the needle. This rod, this one that you can see here, it is the one carrying the needle to and fro. Okay, so it is the one controlling the length of the needle, how far the needle goes into the sewing machine. So you need to adjust it, but you don't just adjust it without seeing what you are adjusting. You need to be sure that your hook timing needs adjustment before you adjust it. And how do you get to know that? So that means you also have to loosen this up and this, okay? So you bring this up, bring your needle into the sewing machine. One thing that you want to take note of here is the hook timing. So I would link some videos in the description that helps you to better understand the hook timing and see it clearer. But what I can explain with what I have here is this. So you see this one that looks like X, that are as though they are opposite each other. This part of the sewing machine, this one, right? You see that there are some, you know, very sharp edges. One is facing this end, one is facing this end. If you look at it thoroughly, you should see that. Let me see. Okay, so you see these two. Now those are what you're after, especially this one that is closer to the needle. That is what you are after. So by the time this comes here, it's going to pass 2 times. By the time it is passing, so I'm wheeling the sewing machine, and that is why it is rolling. I'm wheeling the sewing machine. So this second time, the needle is inside. Can you see that the needle is inside? And now that is around the time that this one on this end is passing the back. Is it the back now? The right side, towards the right side, it's passing towards the needle. So this is the one that picks the thread that is on the needle. Now, if your needle is not touching where this can pick the thread, you will not have stitches made. Your sewing machine will either skip stitches or it will not make stitches at all. It will just be wheeling, no stitch will be made on your fabric. So you have to be sure that this thing is collecting thread from this needle. So now let's fix the thread. Here I fixed thread into the needle. So there's thread in the needle now. So let's see how the hook collects the thread from the needle. Okay. So you see, as the needle is coming up, as the needle is coming back up, by the time this is coming, the needle is already rising back up, and that makes this thread to create a loop that this hook can enter into and collect the thread from. So collect the thread from the needle and take it into the sewing machine. So if the hook is not collecting the thread from the sewing machine, you want to adjust the needle in order for that to happen. So how do you adjust the needle? This is where you adjust the needle. So once you adjust the needle, you are either taking it up so that this hook here can collect the thread at the bottom, or you're bringing the needle downwards. So you just want to check what is the exact problem between the needle and the hook. What is the timing? Is it that the needle needs to go up more or it needs to go down? So I'm going to link some videos in the description that helps you to better understand the hook timing, so that you can set the hook timing for both for your industrial sewing machine and for your manual sewing machine. So when you want to adjust the hook of your needle, and when you want to adjust your needle rod, you will see a screw here. Okay, so this screw right here, if you can see it clearly, this screw right here is the one you are adjusting. So you loosen it a bit. You don't loosen it to the end, just loosen it a bit in order for this to move. So once you loosen it a bit, you'll be able to move this up or down. This particular rod downward, you'll be able to move it up or down. Once you move it down, this one becomes your needle rod. Your needle comes lower a bit. If you move it up, it goes upper. So I don't want you adjusting your needle here. I don't want you adjusting your needle here, because sometimes it may not be enough. So you have to adjust it here. So just loosen this hook right here a bit. This particular one, I don't know if you can see it, this particular one right here, just losing it a bit in order for this to be able to move. So once this rod is able to move, you use it to adjust to match the timing of your hook. Once you match it and you test it with your thread and you see that the hook is collecting the needle consistently, not just that it collects it 3 times, it's not collecting it the 4th time. It has to consistently collect the thread from the needle. So once you are sure that the hook timing is correct, then you are done. Tighten it very well. You have to tighten this hook very well so that this does not move by itself, especially if you're sewing leather. You also need to work on your hook timing. So if your sewing machine, either manual or industrial, is skipping thread, you have to adjust the hook and tighten it very well so that the heaviness, the thickness of the material you are sewing does not push this rod back up if this is not if this is not tight enough. So once you're done doing that, then the next thing that you want to do is to come here. So this is your stitch length. The stitch length for leather is different from the stitch length for clothes. For the stitch length for leather, I usually use 4. So for your stitch length, you push this backwards and then you bring this like this. So I use 4 for leather. For bags, I use 4. But for clothes, you want to make sure that the stitch length is much shorter. So I use 2.5 for clothes. So it is set on 2.5 this way. So you see the line on this. That is where your stitch length is set to. You can set it to lower than that, but I use 2.5 for the stitch length. So I've coupled this back together. We've adjusted the stitch length. The bobbin has already been put in, so I'll just bring out the thread in the bobbin. So brought out the 2 threads, the one from the bobbin and then the one from the needle. So this is our material and we're going to stitch this. Okay, so we'll put this under it together. Let's just sew this end. Okay, so no stitch here, so just observe. See, I'm not holding it. You can see my hand free. So can you see the stitches that it's made? Okay, so let's go again. So this time I'm just going to use my hands to guide it. When you are starting the stitch, you want to ensure that you're holding the fabric for the start, for where you're starting from. You can also back stitch, okay, then continue stitching. Okay, so can you see? Very nice stitch. I'm going to remove this and show you. Can you see the stitches it created? Okay, so it seems that we need to adjust the tension disc. So I'm going to adjust this tension disc a little more. Then let's go again. So for a start, I'm going to just hold it and go small. So this effect at the back, I'm believing, is the tension disc, but can you see that it works? So let's try the polished material. So this is the polished material right here. I'm not going to double it, so I just want to use the soft parts. So place it underneath, so you can see no stitch. We'll go. So this is what we have here. And this this is the back side of it. Okay, so one of the challenges I faced using this is that the thread usually like just cuts. So I believe that it is the tension on the tension disc that is too strong for the thread, because the thread is soft, you understand, compared to the twine thread that we use. The twine thread is very thick, so this thread is just, you know, soft for the kind of, you know, tension it is passing through on the sewing machine. So I believe that that is why if you sew too fast, it may cut, but I believe that there are ways around it. Maybe you can loosen up the tension disc a bit, but these tensions are too tight. So let us adjust the tension disc. So this is 2.5 that I told you that I use, so let's adjust it to 4. Okay, so that is 4 right there, and let's see what comes out. So I'm already sewing with 2.5 before here. Then we just continue sewing and see what 4 looks like. Okay, so the thread went off again because I sewed too fast. So you see what the stitch looks like. You see the difference in the stitch length. So can you see this difference in the stitch length? This was a bit tinier and then this was getting larger. So it depends on the stitch length you want to use. It's up to you. But this is me sewing my fabric material with the same sewing machine, and we've sewn with this very soft one as well. Okay, so we've sewn with this very soft one as well, and we've seen the outcome. So for everyone who has been asking, can I get this kind of sewing machine? Can I use it to sew my clothes? Can I use it to sew my bags? Can you do this? Can you do that? I hope that I've been able to clear some of your doubts and be able to walk you through some processes that you need to take to know that yes, your sewing machine for bags can also help you sew your clothes, and your sewing machine for clothes, which is your manual sewing machine, can also help you sew your bags. All you just have to do is make some minor settings, especially the hook timing for it. And on your manual sewing machine as well, I believe that I have treated that in other videos, which will be tagged in the description to this video. Also, resources on how you can get the hook time, you understand the hook timing of your sewing machine, is also tagged in this video. So you want to make sure that you go to the description in order to check for the tutorials and better understand these things. What other videos would you like me to make? What other tutorials would you like me to make regarding bag making and your sewing machine? I would like to know in the comment section. Thank you once again for watching this video to the end. If you're yet to be subscribed, please click on the subscribe button so that when next we post a video or a tutorial, you'll be one of the first to watch and learn something new. Until then, see you again. Bye.